I come out here, I do these videos telling you about, this bank's collapsing, that bank's collapsing, bailout here, bailout there. Oh, everything's fixed. We had this massive bailout in 2008. We got it fixed. It'll never happen again. The debt grew bigger. The bailouts didn't do anything. We've had banks in Italy failing, Spain, other EU countries. I mean, again, I've been covering this stuff for a long time. One you've not really heard me talk about, because there just wasn't anything there, was Russia. I must break you. Fearing contagion, this is from Wolf Street, Russia bails out bondholders in its biggest bank collapse yet. Now, boy, that came out of nowhere, didn't it? True to the playbook of bank bailouts, the Central Bank of Russia, CBR if you will, decided to bail out bank, we're going to just call it OFC. Otkriti Financial Corporation. We're just going to call it OFC. Or maybe we should rename it the OMG, like, oh my God. OFC. The largest privately owned bank in the country, and the 7th largest bank behind 6 state-owned banks. The central bank put in an undisclosed amount of money in return for an at least 75% stake. This is likely to be Russia's biggest bank bailout ever, well ahead of the current record holder, the $6.7 billion bailout of the Bank of Moscow in 2011. This bank and its businesses would operate as usual, the central bank said. The bank obligations to creditors and bondholders, which include other Russian banks, would be honored to, avoid contagion. We don't want this thing spreading and that old chestnut. So we'll just bail them out. You know what I mean? Just go the old bailout route. So basically, don't create a company. Don't create, do the hard working thing. And I was going to say the American thing, but this is really worldwide. Work hard, start a business. If you want to do something, start a bank. Start a bank so that when you lose, you win. You get bailed out. Your bondholders get bailed out. Everybody gets bailed out. And you just switch a little bit of ownership over to this guy. But it doesn't really matter. This guy being the central bank. It doesn't really matter. You're still going to get your paycheck. They're still the CEO. Everything's fine. Start a bank. You want to start an auto dealership and the auto apocalypse happening? No. You want to start a blockchain consulting company? No. Start a bank, man. You get bailed out. Is there anything else that gets bailed out? Well, there was one, and there was an insurance company one time called AIG that got bailed out. Oh, really? What was that about? Like hurricane damage? No. It insured the banks. And if it didn't have the money to pay the banks would fail. So it had to get bailed out. Oh, back to the bank thing again. Gotcha. So you could be in a supporting group that supports the banks and still get bailed out. Yeah, only in extreme emergencies, of course. The controlling shareholder of this bank is Otkriti Holding with a 65% stake. The bank had grown by wild acquisitions, grabbing other banks, insurers, non-pension funds, and in the diamond business of Russia's second largest oil producer, Lukoil. Otkriti Holding is owned by executives of Lukoil, state-owned VTB Bank, Otkriti, and other companies. So clearly, this bank is too big to fail. Lukoil is also one of Otkriti's largest clients. So Lukoil CEO Vagit Alekperov said in a statement that he saw no risks for Lukoil associated with the bailout, and that Lukoil supported the central bank's decision. You could bet your sweet butt it did. You could bet your sweet butt it supported the bank's decision. In July, according to Reuters, Kremlin-backed ratings agency ACRA downgraded Otkriti to a triple B rating, or is that triple B minus rating, citing the low quality of its loan portfolio. On August 17th, Moody's placed Otkriti on review for possible downgrade, citing 2 big issues. Number 1, the recent elevated volatility of the bank's customer deposits, which puts pressure on its liquidity position and negatively affects its funding costs. And 2, the bank's increased involvement in financing the large financial and industrial assets of its controlling shareholder, Otkriti Holding. Since 2013, the central bank, which is also the banking regulator, has shut down over 300 Russian banks trying to clean up the banking sector. In July, it revoked the banking license of Ugra Bank, stating that it had falsified its accounts. Are you telling me a financial institution cooked the books? Get out of here. Get out of town. You're lying to me. Lying. Did your parents tell you not to lie? And then we get older and we lie. On August 18th, Fitch Ratings warned about Russian banks in general and about Alt-Kriti in particular. A flight to quality triggered by depositors' concerns following the withdrawal of Jugra Bank's license could intensify as the cleanup of Russia's banking sector continues, Fitch Ratings says. This would put some weaker privately owned banks' liquidity at risk. The cleanup is likely to highlight further problem banks, adding to concerns about weak solvency positions at certain private lenders and uncertainty about how the Central Bank of Russia may address these issues. Alt-Kriti, BNN Bank, Promsv something Bank, and Credit Bank of Moscow are among the banks that have been subject to Russian media speculation in recent weeks regarding the liquidity position of some of the potential knock-on effects or contagion on others. The run on deposits was in full swing and the bank was in collapse mode. In June and July, according to Moody's, Alt-Kriti's depositors yanked out 435 billion rubles, or 7.4 billion US, or 18% of the bank's total liabilities. According to the central bank, between July 3rd and August 24th, corporate clients yanked out 389 billion rubles, and retail clients yanked out 139 billion. Where were they putting their rubles? State-owned banks and precious metals? In early July, the gold price started taking off. Reuters notes that ruble liquidity in the Russian interbank market rose unexpectedly this month as the banking sector started borrowing more from the central bank, seen as a symptom of deteriorating trust in the interbank lending market. The central bank's first deputy chairman, Dmitry Tulin, told reporters that Alt-Kriti's expansion was financed via borrowing and key risks were taken. The bank's operations are connected to high risks and need to be seriously changed. The CBR will now assess Alt-Kriti's loan loss provisions and capital, which could take 3 months. If the capital is deemed to be in the red, as Reuters put it, Alt-Kriti's shareholders would lose all their ownership rights. On paper, the bank didn't look too bad. For 2016, it had a non-performing loan ratio of just 7.5% and Tier 1 capital of 12.3% under Russian accounting standards. This is above the CBR's requirements, but that's on paper. And in reality, the capital disclosed in the previous reports seems to have been, wait for it, cooking the books, significantly higher than in reality. Darn. Since reality and realist news go hand in hand, I must report this. At a certain point, the bank owners realized they couldn't solve the issue with capital on their own and turned to the central bank with a proposal to start discussing financial rehabilitation measures. How come you and I don't get to, company may fail, you work for a company, you have a company, it's starting to not do, why can't we go to the Federal Reserve and can we start, what was that word? Can we work on a proposal to start discussing financial rehabilitation measures? I'm sorry, who are you with? I'm with XYZ Corporation. What is that? We sell golf cart parts. Oh, you're not a bank? No. Oh, get lost. What? Why? You prejudice against the kind of work I do? No, it's just simply the country, government, it's buying for the banks, and you're not a bank, so skedaddle. But the overall situation, and the central bank's action raises questions about the quality of the central bank's supervision of one of Russia's largest systemically important lenders. Don't you love how they thought word? This is a systemically important bank. What does that mean? It's systemically important. Okay, what does it mean though? It's systemically important. Oh, you mean like if it fails, the system can go down. Yeah, that's what it means. Systemically important. That's kind of like throwing the national security stamp on everything. You don't want to show it? National security, highly classified. You don't want to have to produce those documents? National security matter. Someone caught you pedophile children? National security matter. Huh. Interesting. Anyways, that's it. I was gonna leave it at that, but I kind of want to talk about this next hurricane, Irma, heading over to JSNIP 4 land in Florida, and it's looking like it might be a monster. We fixing to find out. Stand by, or just watch the next video. Take care.